Salesforce is a recession-proof career, or what? Where you see Salesforce after 5 years?
I mean, travel is one of the perks of being in DevRel. On an average, 3 to 4 months of good preparation should be enough to get you. There's not a lot of developer talent. You won't believe this when I. And there were a lot of job cuts. On your interview day, if you show that developer edition org and
So hello
show.
guys, welcome back with another video of Salesforce Geek channel, and this video is going to be a podcast video with none other than Mohit Srivastav. He is having extensive experience of 11 years in Salesforce technology and also working as lead Salesforce developer advocate at Salesforce. So we are going to have a conversation with him regarding Salesforce as a career in 2023 and with other questions as well. So without any delay, let's get started.
First of all, thank you so much, Mohit, for joining for our today's podcast. And obviously, this topic is all about like Salesforce as a career in 2023. But we are also going to take a couple of questions other than this topic. So, with the very first topic, I am going to ask you, what are your thoughts on the current situation called like a recession? Salesforce is a recession-proof career, or what are your thoughts on it?
First of all, thank you, Shubham, for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and really happy to be here first time on your channel. So, really, I mean, this is, I would say, probably my second recession in my career. I have 11 years of Salesforce experience altogether on Salesforce. I started with, working on Salesforce technology, and now I work for Salesforce as a developer advocate. So this is almost like, I would say, my second one. So my first one, I was not actually in the job market. I remember I was in second year engineering when the recession happened, and there were a lot of job cuts. As an engineering graduate, everything was unsure at that point, like what would happen to the world, like will we get job, should we go for further studies, should I do masters, all these kind of questions came in, and I think this is very relevant now, considering, because the situation is same, for people already working also, they might be thinking. Now, I'm not an economist, right? So, and recessions are hard to predict of what happens in the market. Things happen. It's just a part of the economic cycle, I would say. So I am a firm believer that whatever is in your hands, you can do only that much, right? And just because the recession is there doesn't mean that you should just tie up your hands and sit down, right? That's definitely not the greatest attitude here, right? I would say we are very fortunate to be in Salesforce world. Salesforce is a great product. It's been adopted by 150,000 customers across the globe. From IDC report, by 2026 you will see that the job market will keep on going. That's the prediction, right? So I think we are lucky that, first of all, we are very lucky and fortunate that we are in Salesforce ecosystem. It's a very niche career skill, and also it's a skill in itself. So because we have all of these customers, and there are a lot of great innovations that are happening across Salesforce products. And one of the key things that I feel we are blessed, for considering we work in Salesforce technologies, Salesforce is sort of architected for all sort of environment. Like, for example, right, if you think about the current situation, right, where you need to be efficient, there needs to be a lot of work done by less amount of people. That's going to happen through automation, and Salesforce technology is easy to work with. You have products like flows, where you can like quickly build your process automation, so you can automate your industry, right? So that way, I think Salesforce is architected for these kind of situations, right? I don't see cloud technology sort of stopping by, and Salesforce will be the key holder just because of the product portfolio we have. So I'm really confident, at least in my opinion, that Salesforce will continue to thrive even in this environment.
Yeah, again, the thing is, Salesforce is quite innovative, Mohit. So that's where we are doing a lot of new things, right? And we are acquiring our competitions as well. So according to me, we are in a very good hands. That's it about the recession. And this question is like in a very limelight right now. People are asking, so
Right.
that's why I like ask this very first to you.
Yeah.
Now, the second question which I'm going to ask Mohit, as you are a lead Salesforce advocate, right? Term advocate is quite fascinating to me, And to be very honest, I don't have much idea about this role. So I want to know more from you what this Salesforce advocate role is all about. What are your responsibilities? How your day looks like in this role?
Yeah, this is thanks for the question. Actually, this is a very common question, right? Even I used to have, at least 3 years back. So I'll tell you a little bit about my journey, right? So I was a Salesforce developer. I did Salesforce development for some time, both for like system integrator and also for ISV companies. That means I helped build App Exchange products. I helped companies launch App Exchange products in my previous role as a technical architect, right? So I've been through all these career roadmap of, okay, I want to be a developer and then I want to be an architect, right? One thing that I was always passionate about is how I can sort of help other people, right, in the community by creating content or writing sample code or writing blogs. So these are some things that I was like really interested. I used to like working in community. So I used to like teaching, mentoring people. So I think developer advocate role is sort of that. It is it's a role where you are always working with community. You are bridging the community, right, with the internal product teams at Salesforce. So you are like kind of a middle person, right? You're taking all the feedback from the community about products. You're circulating back to the product team, and if the product team is coming up with new products and new features, you actually create content for the community so that the community can learn. They are inspired. They get these sample code and sample ideas to take it forward in their organization. So developer advocate is sort of a really cool role. And honestly, it's not just Salesforce related. Every software company has this role, developer advocate, and it's pretty hot in the market right now. And also it's a growing role that a lot of the companies are trying to learn, like what is the value add that developer advocates bring. But I think it's a very vital role, specifically for SaaS companies which have developer centric products, because developer advocates are also engineers, so they can produce code, they can produce sample code, they can produce like integration. Like for example, if you're building some sort of a product, right? How do we use that product, right? We have to connect with the external world. So there needs to be some sort of a layer that needs to be written, like an SDK or things like that. So developer advocates have this capability that they know some technology. They also are hands-on engineers, so they can create content. And also during the events, like for example Dreamforce or Trailhead DX, we play a very vital role because we create the content, like and the experience that our trailblazers like.
So thank you for explaining about like what developer role is all about. And I can like if I need to summarize this, like as I'm doing content creation, I'm not directly associated with Salesforce, but you are directly associated with Salesforce and doing content creation from their end. And I'm doing like unofficially just through my YouTube channel, right? So
Yes, so I would say it is the same, like what you are doing, right? It's the same thing that we do, right? Except any content that we produce, right, also goes through those reviews from product teams.
yeah,
And
yeah.
also some of those content is sort of channeled through those teams. But then there's also one specific aspect that you probably cannot do is you can take feedback. Like for example, you produce a content, right? And if people are
Yeah.
saying, okay, in flows I like this feature, but I think this feature
Mhm.
should work this way, we can
Yeah.
take that specific feedback from
Mhm.
you and channel within the organization.
Yeah, it's like I can make mistakes and get feedback from the audience, but you need to provide the exact information, right? With full
Yes.
precision, like okay, we need to be correct because it's a kind of official, right? So yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. You need to be accurate. At least it's called messaging. Like once
Mhm.
anybody interested in developer advocacy role, right? This is something that I learned, is there are three things actually. Okay. Content, messaging, and sharing, right? So content is the content that you produce, messaging is the message that is there in that content. So that is paid a lot of attention. Like, I cannot come onto a camera and just do my own
Yeah.
opinionated things there. Of course, I do some opinionated talks and produce some opinionated ideas and content, but then it also needs to have the messaging that the company wants me to present.
The another question that we have, Mohit, let's say there are beginners who are like right now learning Salesforce to
Yeah.
get a job in Salesforce ecosystem, and some of the individuals are like working in partner companies, and basically they are doing their job maybe on a business analyst role, admin or developer, whatever the role they have. So in a recession market, what are your suggestion those individuals should do in their daily jobs, or at least prepare those points or your suggestions in order to get a secured job?
Yeah, so
Yes.
good question again, Shubham, and this is really relevant, right, at this point. So as I said, any recession cycle, right, the economy will keep going down, 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 and then it will go up. It's almost like a chart. It will come down like this, it will go up like this, right? It's interesting if you open the GDP or anything, any chart, like even the stock market chart, you will see things go like this, go like this, it'll go up. So there's not always going to be down like this, right? It'll have to
Yeah.
go up sometime. So the idea is to actually not stop doing what you're doing, depending on where you are in your career, right? Your objective should be to find out what kind of interests you and what motivates you, what is it that you want to do next in your career, and really take step towards that. This is very contextual answer. Actually, everybody has their own goals, right? Let's take an example of a Salesforce developer, right? Who is familiar with, let's say, Apex and LWC and writing flows, etc., right? Probably, in my opinion, right, if their next goal is towards architecture, they should work towards their architect certification, right? If they want to go and sort of become a champion in, like, let's say, building high sophisticated applications, right? um, Probably they should explore other paths, like become familiar with other stack that we have, like Heroku or functions, elastic services, dynos. There's so many things, right? If they want to, like, really get hands on and become a really good software developer, right, they can always go back, learn algorithms. The learning should never stop, right? It really depends on what you want to do, right? If you want to build, like, for example, somebody who would want to become a leader, right? They would probably, I think this is the right time to build your leadership skills, right? Read about how to become a leader, what are the characteristics of a leader, right? What are the soft skills that you need, so you start preparing for that, right? um, if you are a content creator, right, your next step is to improve, like, okay, how would I produce more relevant content, right? Think about that. What is it that I can make sure that my content is interesting, and what do I
Yeah.
want to do with that role altogether? Should I take it to another level? Should I make these courses, sell them? So it really all depends on what you want to do. But the idea is here, like, the recession is just part of the thing that you don't have control on. What you have control on is skilling up, right?
Yeah.
Becoming a good developer, right? Good software developer, if you are a developer. Or if you're want to become something else, right? You just work towards it.
Yeah, so it's like, if I summarize this, is like skill up your skill set, right? Try to learn as much things you can.
Yes.
And second, like improvement, obviously, whether you are having a communication gap or whatever it is, let's say you have a problem with English, try to improve it. I'm just talking about Indian context when I'm
Yeah.
saying okay English. But like soft skills are also very very crucial when we say, like when we need to
Oh,
interact with
absolutely.
client and all, right? Everything should be good. So it's like continuous improvement will be the only answer, if I can say. And
Yeah.
again, you can't control if a client, if a company lose their client, right? You
Yeah.
can't do anything in that. So
Yeah.
it's just you need to skill up and you need to add more value to the company. So I think that's the only answer we can conclude from all the context. And again, interesting question from the community, Mohit. Basically, I created a poll on my Telegram channel, and this question came up like very frequently. There are a lot of individuals who want to know. So let's say there are individuals who have a career gap in right, let's say 5 to 6, not very very specific with like 5 to 6 years, but
Right.
long career gap, and now they want to skill up into Salesforce and want to get a job in Salesforce ecosystem. So, what are your suggestions? How should they prepare? Because as you know, the company little bit restrain themselves to get only the fresh talent. So, how they can secure a job?
This is very good question. I was thinking through this, right? I think we already have a lot of resources on trailhead.com, like trailhead.salesforce.com. So I think skilling it, like going there, right? Skilling yourself, like specifically starting with admin topics, right? Here's the thing, right? I mean, companies will look for all sorts of people, right? I don't think a lot of companies at least restrict themselves to freshers or experienced people. I mean, all that they are looking for is whether you can do the job or not on a daily
Yeah.
basis, right? So I think you should. I think that is where the mindset should change a bit. Is like, okay, it's not that only freshers will be hired or experienced individuals should be hired. As long as I have the skill set, right, I should be able to sort of easily get to the job, right? So the first thing is getting that skill set, and I think Trailhead is the right resource, right? And I think you'll start with admin, like start working through samples, like, okay, how do I create a developer edition org? Try to create an app yourself, learn all the administration things that are there in Salesforce, like creating page layouts, creating simple objects and fields and relationships, um, you know also building a little bit of apps using app builder and things like that. So once you get through that, right, start looking for, okay, what administration jobs. If you're not able to like crack through, right, talk
Mhm.
to some experienced individuals to find out what they do on their day-to-day basis. And furthermore, if they are interested in the developer role, go and learn some developer related topics. If they already have some programming background, it shouldn't be that hard to learn Apex and LWC. So as long as you kind of learn these skill sets and you can show them, right? One of the best things I would say is to have in the resume is a project, that
Mhm.
you have in your developer edition org. Like, on your interview day, if you show that developer edition org and show, this is what I built with LWC, this is what I did with Apex. And if you are able to answer the interviewer question on how you approached it, that
Yeah.
pretty much actually locks the deal for you. It's pretty simple. Like, if they understand, okay, you are able to work on this, right? I mean, let me tell you something. It's something really interesting, right, about Salesforce. Um, so one of the things that we often see in Salesforce world is there's not a lot of developer talent. You won't believe this when I say this. If you look at like Salesforce developers, they are paid really well. Be it in India or be it in US, in
Mhm.
Europe, Australia. Speak about the world. Salesforce developers are everywhere, and they are paid really handsome salary. Um, and honestly, there's not a lot of talent actually. There's a scarcity of talent. Every partner looks for Salesforce developers, right?
Mhm.
I cannot say for admins. I think admins is also same thing. Every company needs admins and developers and architects, right? But I can easily say that there's not a lot of developer talent. So as long as you're able to master these skills and show to the show in your job interviews, you should pretty much be able to get job. Irrespective of whether you come from whatever background or how much of break you took. I think it'll definitely not matter as long as you can show the commitment.
And any interviewer doesn't go for like this individual should know everything for 100%, right?
Absolutely
But
not.
it's just like, okay, how when an interviewer going to judge someone, like, okay, whether this person, if I assign a particular task to him or her, whether they are able to do that or not. That's the quality they want to go for, I guess. uh, so
Uh,
yeah, definitely. Also, if you can showcase your work, like post on LinkedIn what you are working on or what you are building. Let's say you are talking about LWC, so I think that's an add-on where you can like
yeah,
showcase, I built this, and yeah, if I get LWC task, I can, okay, I already worked on. So it totally depends on your interview, where the interviewer going to judge you, like, okay, whether you are going to take the challenge and complete your job. So if you are able to do that, I don't think so. A career gap will going to doom you or make any obstacle in your career until unless you have the skill set and you are able to show what the interviewer is looking for. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what is critical here is sometimes, the challenge here, what I feel, and this I'm relating because, I was on a paternity leave this year for like 2 or 3 months, and then I came out of the paternity leave. So after 3 months, right, like when you come back fresh into the job, right, that's where it gets really difficult, right? I mean, imagine 3 months I had to face this. Now, so somebody's coming after 5 years, let's say, with all due respect, right? Somebody went through, they were taking care of their kids, and uh, they were not able to focus on career. Now the kids are grown up, right? So now they want to focus back on their career, right? So I think the challenge will be, fighting with yourself a bit, because it's not easy to start getting into that groove, right? So it takes some time, maybe you start slow, as I said. You build your, maybe you do one trailhead module per day. Maybe you
Yeah.
decide, okay, next day I want to do one more, and you slowly build up that thing, right? And slowly pick up your pace. Yeah, and after some time, like, after you put in like 6 months of, I think, Salesforce development, if you really like, even if you don't have, like, the best part about Salesforce is, like, the barrier for entry is very small.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not that you're learning like an algorithm or a maths equation or anything like that. The tool itself is so simple, and it's designed such a way that it makes sense, right? So I think
Yes.
once they go through Trailhead, right, I would say, like, on an average, 3 to 4 months of good preparation should be enough to get you the skill set.
Yeah.
Maybe you might need couple of more months to like polish and understand what type of questions are being asked in the interviews.
This is going to help those individuals who are going to look an answer like how should I prepare or what should I need to do if I have a career gap. So I
Yeah.
think this answer will help them. So another question, Mohit, I like go through your LinkedIn profile and I saw dev relation team. So I'm very fascinated about this role or what actually a dev relation team is, and I came to know about from a lot of people that we will get a lot of like tours across the country, across the world in order to get some session and all. So if you can highlight that part, I'm very exciting about this. So if you can let me know what it is and how I individually, let's say if an individual want to be in a Salesforce dev relation team, how the approach should be. Obviously, they need to be directly associated with Salesforce, but what are the other things, or is there any criteria they need to fulfill? Like it is a
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, travel is one of the perks of being in DevRel, right? Because remember, in DevRel, you are going to different conferences. You are presenting there about Salesforce, right? And these conferences happen across the globe, right? So you are like, yeah, continuously traveling. I travel once in a month, at least that has been for this year, once the travel has started.
yeah.
Of course, like next week I'm going to New York for the New York World Tour, right? And then March I'm traveling for TDX 23, and
Yeah.
then I'm back home in India, actually, in April. So yeah, and then maybe in India I try to find some developer groups and sort of work there. So yeah, travel is part of the job, right? It comes with its own perk. It has its own disadvantages too, right? If it's going to be it's also hectic, right? For it's really good if you're young, I would say. Like, you really enjoy it because you're young, you want to travel,
Yeah.
explore. um but yeah, that's a part of the job, I would say, because you always needs to be connected to the community. You need to speak with different people from different backgrounds, to understand like what community wants from you, what type of content, right? Getting into DevRel, I would say, is it's mostly a byproduct, I would say. At least for me, it has been a byproduct, not a product, right? So I've always focused on like the process, right? Focus on the process, and then the result will come eventually, right? If you aim for like DevRel, right? One of the qualities I would say is to obviously, create content, create quality content, blogging, being on developer forums, answering all the questions, and having that or building that soft skill, which is very important in DevRel, right? And also a good, you know, a good relation with other developers. As you can see, DevRel,
Mhm.
right? Dev relations. So which means
Yeah.
you need to have a good relations with other developers, right? So these are some of the qualities, right, that companies look for in terms
Mhm.
of DevRel, right? At this point, like the hirings and everything is freezed, I would say, right, across different companies, not only Salesforce, right? Um, we have DevRel for different products, like for example, we have DevRel for MuleSoft, we have DevRel for Slack, DevRel for Salesforce Core Platform. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure there's a DevRel in ISV world itself, right? So DevRel has become industry standard. Even if you consider other companies like Google,
Mhm.
Amazon Web Services, everybody has DevRel. It's gonna be one of those things that's gonna be hard in the market. As I said, because it adds a lot of value. It actually bridges, the actual world with the product world. Which is just
Mhm.
visionary at some point, right? So it's gonna be a byproduct, as I said. It will eventually come up. One thing I would say as a DevRel is you are a content creator plus you are a engineer plus you are a marketer. You need to have all these skills. And one of the things that I've learned in like last 3 years working in DevRel is design is also an important part of it, right? So you need to also have some sort of design skills within you, because
Mhm.
when you are like producing content for uh, things like events, right? Big events, the designs actually matter because you're actually
Mhm.
showing up a concept, right?
Yeah.
So more than like the real code, more it'll be designs, like how you can imagine, how you can vision it. So there's a little bit of creativity that is required for sure. It's a job
Mhm.
role with, I would say like my job role as uh, de- like as a developer and technical architect was so easy. Like after working in DevRel, I can
Yeah.
easily say that is very easy to do, because see there what happens is your client will tell you I want this, okay, and
Mhm.
you are just solving that, right?
Yeah.
In DevRel you create problem for yourself.
Mhm.
Like there's no one telling you that this is the problem, right? So
Yeah.
the technology, you have the technology, you have to create the requirements, you have to create that market, right?
Mhm.
So that's
Mhm.
that's where it is creativity comes in. And that's why I say, like, yeah, it requires lots of energy. One thing with DevRel is like, it will require a lot of energy, because
Mhm.
you'll be continuously be interacting, like um, you'll always be on social. You'll always
Yeah.
be internally in the company. You will have contacts with lots of people. Like that's
Yeah.
one of the things. You'll have contact with lots of product managers internally, lots of people externally too, right? So it's a challenging role, but it is exciting as well. It's never boring. The one thing is, it's not going to be monotonous, because today one product, tomorrow some other product will come up. You know, and I think the beginner mind help here. Like, okay, it's like, okay, whatever you have done till now, right?
Mhm.
Tomorrow is nothing for you, right?
Yeah.
Because something comes up, like Salesforce, right? A genie comes up now.
Yeah. Yes.
Like Genie is a great product, right? I mean, Salesforce like created this product. Now, as a developer advocate, right, I should be curious, go explore that, talk to the product
Mhm.
management, what this product has potential, right? And then listen to the customers, listen to like developer community, what they are feeling, and what is like what is difficult for them, what is getting challenging, right? So and then you extract that, you listen to that, right? You need to be a good listener too. So you listen to
Mhm.
that, and then you come back in your workstation and think about that problem. You learn this technology. One thing is like your learning speed should be very quick. Like, you cannot be
Mhm.
like, okay, like you won't believe, right? Like when these technologies come, we don't even have usually 2 weeks to learn this and start producing content, right?
Mhm.
So you need to be a very quick learner, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice one. And actually, two things which I like learn from this, like you should be a marketer, right? Need to know how you can promote something. So there is one last question, Mohit, which I want
Yeah,
to ask you.
absolutely.
Where you see Salesforce after 5 years? I know this is not going to be a very precise answer, but people have a lot of confusion. I'm not saying confusion, but they are like in a fear mode. Like, okay, what is Salesforce going to be in existence after 5 years or 10 years? Is it a good career? Should I go for it? And especially the other techs, kind of those people or who are from the non-tech background,
Yeah.
those kind of people ask it very, very frequently, like, okay, where you see after 10 years, where Salesforce lies in, as you
Yeah.
are directly associated with Salesforce. So what's your take on it? How you're going to answer this if someone asks you, like, okay, Mohit, tell me, what's the future for Salesforce in upcoming 5 years?
Yeah, this is a great question, right? And I would one of the things that I always try to live by is okay, I plan for like a lot in the future, but I try to remain in the present. Like I don't think much about future because future is uncertain. Like you don't know, right? What will happen tomorrow? Like it's a very uncertain thing, right? Like what will happen to you, you can't control. What you can is being present, like being present now. We are present now, right? So that's the kind of attitude that I have, right? But since you asked me like what would happen like after 5 years or what the vision is, looking at like the suite of products we have, right? One of the interesting things that I look at Salesforce and look at is like we have great set of industry products now. Be it our velocity acquisition, right, which is called Salesforce Industries. So there are products like Health Cloud, Financial Services Cloud, also Industrial Cloud. I think Manufacturing Cloud we called it as Consumer Goods Cloud. There's so many different clouds that we created,
Yes.
um, and made our products very relevant to the industry. That speaks that every vertical will use our product going forward. I'm pretty sure, or at least I see that happening. And with Genie, right, bringing that
Mhm.
real time customer magic, right, which is like creating that customer graph with like acting as a data hub or a data lake. I i don't see like Salesforce going away. Definitely in next 10 years at least I can really see that, right? So I'm really positive about the outcome of Salesforce, right? And if you're a Salesforce developer, I would say you're already a full stack developer. You know it or not,
Yes.
you are a full stack developer. If you're working with LWC, you already know JavaScript a bit more. If you're working with Apex, right, tomorrow if somebody asks you to do Java or .NET, in fact you'll go and do it. I mean it's not, and then you'll say Salesforce was better because you don't have to use all these tools and learn to start and stop the server. Salesforce makes it easier. Just you deploy
Yes.
an Apex class and you just run it. So similar thing with LWC. I mean, we give you all the base components, you just put them in and it works, right? So you're already a full stack developer, I would say. Maybe there is some learning, obviously. Everything has its own limit and the box, right? We abstract a lot of things for you. If you want to go deeper into it,
Mhm.
Salesforce is also a little bit open source. Like for example, our
Yeah.
tools, right? Our developer tools, they are all open source. It's all available on the GitHub. Go and explore, like contribute to the product, right? And grow in your career, like as how much deep you want to go. There's no like limit. It's sky is the limit here. So yeah, I'm very positive. To be frank, I think I mean, I'm a bit biased here, but to be frank, I feel like Salesforce, like it's still undersold. I think it's still getting started. Honestly, next 10 years, it's gonna be amazing. We're still getting started. Honestly,
It's cool. It's cool to know it. Actually, this is coming from you, and you are directly associated with Salesforce, so it's a good one. And people now have some confidence after listening to your answer, and they can like start learning Salesforce. So
yes.
yeah, if someone is trying to learn Salesforce and in a doubt like whether should I go for Salesforce and or not, so now this answer is for you. So thank you so much, Mohit, for today's
Absolutely.
session. I would love to bring you again on this channel and doing an amazing podcast with some different topics. So again, thank you so much and heartfelt thanks to you for joining on this channel. And
Thank you.
yeah, I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Shubham, for having me. And keep up the great work. Actually, I see your channel all coming up whenever I search for something, and it's really inspiring. Like, for example, I was looking at your first video and your last video, and seeing like all those improvements in the content style that you're presenting. It's awesome. So
Yeah, thanks. It means a lot, Mike.
thank you.
Yeah.